Howdy folks, Rudros here in a bit of a different video today. I am currently prepping and traveling to the Kansas City Materia Cup, which when this video goes live on Friday will be the day after. I believe is it the 20th or is it the 21st? Maybe it's even the 22nd. I don't know. Whatever the day after Friday is. So maybe it's 20th. Whatever day it is. So since I'm prepping for that, I didn't really have time for a full big in-depth video. So I thought I would do a very short one on the new Warrior of Darkness cards that came out and just kind of this tribal as a whole and just some quick brief thoughts. Again, this isn't meant to be super long, just to give you some things to think about, what I think of these cards, having tested with them, played with them. So I do like them. Back when I first started near the end of Opus 7, right when these came out in Opus 8, these were my favorite cards to pair with the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, which was my favorite deck. They fit the colors, they're Earth Lightning, and they were kind of their own little secondary package. So you had the Scions package, and then you had the Warriors of Darkness package, and Alba stole me many, many games, which was pretty awesome. I really liked having her come down and just dull in the field, and then boom, she hasted in for a win. Old Noct was fun. It's really crazy to look at this action ability now. Pay X twice, choose a 4 monster. If its cost is X, break it. So to break a 2-cost monster, you had to pay 4. A 3-cost, you had to pay 6, which is just insane by today's standards, but it was cool. So yeah, I love these old ones. These ones in Opus 12 were kind of fun too, but they never really saw play, although this Noct is pretty fun. So let's talk about the new ones. Are they any good? I have played Final Fantasy Legends, or Final Fantasy Dimensions, as it was called when I played on BlueStacks. It's a really fun game, and I think the biggest thing hurting this tribal is simply a lack of names. That there are only 4 of them: Glaive, Noct, Alba, and Diana, and they just keep repeating these. Noct has 1 extra card because he got this Warp 1 in Opus 19, but other than that, the 4 come out together. And as you can see on this card, you can see Sarah. I believe that's Dusk behind him, because if this isn't really spoilers for the game, because it happens at the very beginning of the game, that this is the original party. It's Noct, Alba, Dusk, and Sarah, and then on the other side, Glaive, Diana, Sol, and Aegis are all together. And then something happens, and they essentially get split into the quote-unquote Warriors of Light, Warriors of Darkness. But they all really are on the same side, and they work together, so I really wish that they would make Warriors of Darkness with Sarah, with Aegis, with Sol, with Dusk, and hell, you can even make them both. You know, they're a Warrior of Darkness / Light, so they qualify for both. Or just make those ones Warrior of Darkness. Make 4 cards of them that are Warriors of Darkness, so they fit in with this tribal, because that's just the real issue holding it back. Like, Noct is a very good card. He's expensive, of course, but he is really good. I don't want to say he's Amaterasu proof, because if, like, it's turn 1, you pitch 5 cards from hand, slap him down, you have no hand, and they Amaterasu that. Yeah, he won't die, but you have an empty hand. But if you can go to your attack phase and you still have a Warrior of Darkness in hand, he can just play it for free, which is awesome. So he gets great value. Where I think they kind of messed up with these is, again, it's a lack of names, right? So here, think of Noct this way. So let's say you're playing these 4 brand new ones. I've seen people play like the backup Diana to get value, but let's just focus on these 4. You're playing these 4 cards. So you have a grand total of 12 Warriors of Darkness in your deck. When you play your first Noct, let's say you're lucky enough that he's the only one you've seen. So whatever you pitch from hand to pay for him, there's no Warrior of Darkness among them. So you have 11 targets in your deck, right? Not counting this Noct, he would be the 12th. So you play him, you have 11 targets. You pick one of each. Let's say you pick a Glaive, an Alba, and a Diana. Now you have 8 targets left. And what happens in the reality of games, unless you're insanely lucky, you're going to naturally draw into more copies of this card. Maybe you'll hit him into damage, get an Alba or a Glaive EX Burst. Also, isn't that kind of crazy that both Alba and Glaive were the original EX Bursts, and they got it on this one as well? Very interesting there. I guess Diana had one down here too in that last set. So they've all had one, because Noct has one there. Yeah, they've all had their chance at EX Burst. But anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked there. So you've got 8 left in the deck. Any that you naturally draw into, or hit into damage, or get milled off your deck by a Zidane, whatever, it's making this Noct weaker, because now the next one you play, if you do play a next one, he's going to have less and less targets to find. Now, I think the idea is that, well, you've got his special, So maybe you just feed the extra knocks into that. But yeah, what if your board gets wiped, they answer it, whatever it is, and so you need to do the chain again. And I've seen this happen many a times with the people playing it, and have felt it when I played it that, oops, one time I played him, there was only one target left in the deck. So I don't want to pay 9 to go get a single card. That doesn't feel good at all. And then once they're on the field, so again, let's say you slap him down turn 1, you play Diana, she's the best neutral one, she draws you a card. And then I've seen it. The guy, I've some testing partner, he got all 4 of them out. It's like, okay, well, now what? Now, and granted, maybe you're saying, well, it doesn't need to do more than that, right? You've played a 5, a 3 cost for free. That's insane value, which it is. And maybe that's what they were banking on. But there was this feeling of just like, oh, well, now you're out of things to do. Versus other cards. You know, if you look at something as simple as White Tiger Lysine Nimbus, that will always dull freeze a character when he attacks. What's something more recent? A Porum, a Palom. Those will always trigger their ability and shoot for however much. You know, what's his face? Tyvis, kind of another example. He's with warriors, and because there's so many more named warriors, you can keep putting out those warriors. Think of the new knight stuff with Corellia, right? The reason that Japanese list is so good is there's so many different named knights in that list, so that Corellia is almost always going to have targets to hit. You don't have this like cap where you just run and you just run out of targets. So I think that's the big thing. I'll go over their individual effects here in a second, but I think that is the big thing. And I know a lot of people have asked for the Warriors of Darkness from Final Fantasy XIV. I would love that as well. I know they're not going to do it because FF is a game that is very big on theme, and thematically it doesn't make sense why, you know, they're from 2 different games and they clearly want to keep this package together. I wish they would just scrap that, like screw the theme, just put them in there. But oh well, they're not going to do that. And so that's why I think the closest thing they could do is pick the 4 quote-unquote Warriors of Light from that game and just make 4 copies of them that are Warriors of Darkness so you can have more targets to hit. I think that alone would make this deck feel a lot better if you just had more names and more targets to hit. Okay, on their individual effects, Glaive is, like, you don't ever want to pay 5 for this. He's great coming off Noct for free because he makes Noct 10,000 power, which is huge. I don't really know why he doesn't buff himself. And he makes Alba and Diana both 8k, which can matter. You know, it doesn't protect him from an Amaterasu, but it's still relevant. And then he gets one back from the break zone, which is nice, but not nearly as strong or as fast as a card that just does something on entry. So I think Glaive feels very bad to just play for 5, but he can feel really good when played for free off of Noct, but when you actually have to pay for it, bad. What is nice is, like, let's say they board wipe this with, you know, not a Shantoto because it removes them, 2 Hecaton Kyers or a Shinryu or whatever your preferred break is, and they go to the break zone, Glaive will see the Noct go to the break zone, so he can recur that if he wants. Alba and Diana I find just kind of weird. I was so high on Alba when I first saw her, but I don't really understand why they had to come in off an ability to get their effects. Alba, maybe they thought that would just be too strong, that you could just jam this into any lightning deck. You pay 3 and break anything of 4 or less. I mean, yeah, that's not bad, especially when she can then give herself haste. And they are still on this power curve that to break something must cost minimum 4, usually with a condition like Robo Black Belt, or 5. So in their minds, we're giving you a discount, right? We're getting a 2 CP discount, so because of that, it has to come in off an ability. Same with Diana with the draw. And clearly they're meant to feed into Noct, but it does feel a bit like forced synergy because there are times when you don't have the knocked out and it feels real bad to pay 3 for Alba or Diana and then they don't do anything, that they just come in like, okay, Diana can give herself haste, but that's not amazing. A 3 cost 7k that can get haste if it resolves in the attack step or, you know, when she enters. So yeah, I wish, I don't know if there was a way to find a middle ground for that what if when Diana, anytime Diana entered play, you know, she drew a card, but then if she came in off Noct, she did something extra, or what if on entry she at least dulled something or gave herself haste or removed a card from the break zone, and then if she came in off an ability, also draw a card, maybe similar to Alba, right? On entry, she does something, even if it's minor, and then if she came in off the ability, also you get the break. I don't know how you would have worded that, but Yeah. So these three, while great off of Noct playing for free, do feel incredibly lackluster outside of that, which again makes this very forced synergy. And that's assuming things are going well. What if you can't find Noct? You know, what if you don't see him in your opening hand? What if you've drawn 5 other Warriors of Darkness before you get to him? And so by the time you search, there's just not many targets left. So I've always loved these characters. I really love this art on these original cards, and again, they worked really well with that original Scions package. The Opus 12 stuff was fun too, but yeah, it's interesting too how much they seem to repeat effects. Like Glaive gives them power and brave, gives them power and brave. Noct, he has all the like cornerstone cool effects. Same with this one, Alba, haste. Diana, this one's gets something back. This one gets something back. This one draws a card. So in a way, I kind of appreciate that, like, oh, they clearly are locked in on a theme. But in another way, it's also kind of disappointing, right? That they just keep doing the same thing with these cards. Why are all the glaives so similar? Again, I played through that game, and I like Glaive as a character, but I don't really recall him being this big supporter of the group, so much so that I would say all of his cards have to have this give everyone else power and brave. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish they had just done something different, come up with a newer thing, whereas these feel just more like updated effects for, well, this is how the power level should be in Opus 22. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Warriors of Darkness, if you will. Let me know if you have any fun deck builds with them. I've seen a few out there. I haven't overly felt motivated to put up a deck tech for them myself. If you would like to see that, let me know. I'll show you what my version of it is. I don't know how great it is or isn't, but anyway, that is all. Let me know what you think. I appreciate you watching, and until next time, take care. Bye.